Thank you. I think when we look 10 years from now to the future, it's important not to daydream, because what we need to do today is to make sure that we get in 10 years to a place where we've all agreed, and that is to make sure that our neighbors are part of the European Union and that Europe has the world's most competitive economy in the world. And with all due respect to Antonio, I would prefer that in 10 years the High Representative be the person who on behalf of the European Union travels to all of these places, not various configurations of foreign ministers. I think we need two things. We need first a new covenant. We need a reaffirmed commitment by the European Union that enlargement is on track. And this is what the message in the Sarajevo high-level meeting was. Europe is committed to making sure that our friends in the Western Balkans become part of the European Union. But secondly, we need a reaffirmed commitment by each and every government and each and every political establishment in our neighborhood, a commitment to domestic reforms. Because no regional cooperation, no gestures of reconciliation can compensate the need to focus very much on domestic reforms in each and every country. They can be enhanced, and regional cooperation and good neighborly relations are very, very important. But if we spend too much time either hanging on to myths or digging into history, we will lose the future for many people in the region. And that is why reforms, reforms, reforms. And I say this with the full conviction of the last country that has joined the European Union, Bulgaria, with its sometimes schizophrenic process of managing both transition and membership in the European Union, and lessons very hard learned in our own country. First lesson that we had to learn, and I say this to all of our friends in the Western Balkans, is do not hide from the problems that exist. Admit them and face them and address them. And unless this happens in this new covenant, new commitment that we make to reforms in the region, little will change. Secondly, again, is the focus on internal domestic reforms that are in line with the EU accession process. We've seen much positive in our region for the last 10 years. But what we need to do now is identify the roadblocks that exist for the membership of all our neighbors in Europe, and make sure that we address these roadblocks one by one and support the European perspective. Croatia is a country that has achieved much, and we hope very much that soon we will be able to welcome them in the European Union, particularly also in working on an endemic problem for Southeastern Europe, and this is the problem of crime and corruption. Montenegro, peacefully transitioning to independence, deserves to receive the EU candidate status as soon as possible from the European Commission, and we look also forward to seeing the same happen for Albania. Serbia is a country whose a very important step is now the ratification of the Stabilization and Association Agreement, and I use this forum again to call on all of our friends in the European Union to move forward and ratify that agreement as quickly as possible, as we will be doing in Sofia at the end of this week. But dialogue with Kosovo and Serbia needs to begin, and it needs to begin on practical issues that are related to the daily lives of people both in Kosovo and in Serbia. Macedonia is a country with which we share a great common history and enjoy very good relations, but we believe very firmly that Macedonia's future lies in Europe and in NATO. For that future to be able to move forward, the time has come for a compromise to be reached on the name issue. Bosnia and Herzegovina is a country that we care greatly for, and we've supported very much the membership action plan in NATO, and I look very much forward to what Sven just said, is to meeting the criteria which was set by NATO so that Bosnia and Herzegovina can move forward on its membership action plan for NATO. It is perhaps, to many may seem, a small step, but it is a vital step for the future of the country and for the stability of the region. Let me not leave Kosovo out. Kosovo needs to, as quickly as possible, get on the roadmap to visa liberalization for Europe. We cannot afford to have a black hole or a little dot in the map of the Balkans that is left out of a process of free movement of people. This is very, very important, because otherwise we will lose the constituency for reform and for Europe in our newest and youngest independent neighbor. Thank you.